Stuff Live with Dave Sundstrom.
The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom. And if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly classic TV from decades gone by, you've come to the right place. Tonight, got a very special live stream. We're going to be talking all about The Greatest American Hero, that television show that debuted on the ABC TV network, 1981. And here to discuss it with me is a feller named Kevin from a channel which you may be familiar with called Retro Renaissance. He's going to be joining in about 10, 15 minutes or so, and we'll talk The Greatest American Hero. We'll do some trivia. And you know what? We'll let the conversation just kind of take us in whatever direction we want to take it. One thing I want to learn is more about his channel and what got him into being a YouTube content creator. So I'll probably ask him some questions around that as well. But before we do any of that stuff, we've had folks hanging out in the chat for a little while. I want to make sure that I acknowledge everyone that I can. First off, I want to say thank you to a couple brand new members, Catherine Combs, as well as a feller who simply goes by the name of Dan. Thanks to both of you. Truly appreciate you making the decision to become a supporting channel member. It's, it's not something that all that many people do. You're part of an elite 40 to 50 people that, ongoing support this channel. So thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Dan, and thank you, talk about ongoing, Keith E., channel member for 30 months, probably even longer than that because I think Keith was a supporter over on Patreon. It says, truly great to see Kevin on your channel. I have been following him for years, but not commenting recently. But what a great, great channel. I think you might have been one of the folks that suggested to me that I reach out to Kevin and see if he wanted to join us, Keith. So thank you for that. Let me go back over to the normal live chat here, get past all the channel member stuff and say hi to fellers like Tom McCluskey, a.k.a. the Hungry Jerk. Tom says went to many of, I'm going to say that's conventions where William Catt was supposed to attend, but he never showed, so I never met him. Okay. Yes, conventions. My name's unavailable, says the OG Cat William from Ohio, no less. And Sarah, channel member, Sarah, a.k.a. My Flock is Everywhere, is with us as well. Good to have you here with us, Sarah. Thanks for joining. Channel member Keith E. says, welcome, Kevin. Won a prize on your show when you had 2,000 subscribers a long time ago. No good to see you here. I think he means to say good to see you here. Channel member Angela McArdle's here. Adrian James is here. Let's see. Melina Long is here. Ken Wilkinson is here. Welcome, Ken. Always good to have you holding down the fort in the chat. Channel member Superplex is here. Says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who else is here. Shasta. Hello, Shasta. Welcome to the live stream tonight. I see a lot of folks welcoming you and saying hello. That's awesome. You'll find that we have a tremendously warm and just friendly community here. Shasta says, I'm excited to watch this amazing channel go live. Well, we're excited to have you here watching this. So welcome, welcome. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers is in the house. She of Tracy's Fractured History and More. Welcome. Good to have you here with us tonight. Ms. Roth Myers. Ethan Wolf Legend is here as well. Let's see who else might be hanging out in the chat. Zebras XX says, are you aware what's going on in this country, Sundstrom? And you're remembering the greatest American hero? Indeed, I am. Because there are times, despite the tumult and the chaos that may be raining down on us in the United States of America right now, where we need to take a break, regroup, and focus on mental health. And I can think of no better way to do that than to escape the chaos and just enjoy reminiscing about classic television. Channel member Danny Staten, I should say Danny Staten, feels like a channel member. He's been around for so long and such a great supporter. Raja 1938 is here as well. Let's see. And I think we are all caught up, which is great. So today's live stream, like I said, is all about the greatest American hero. And I have such fond memories of this television program. Such fond memories. You know, it came at a time, 1981, where it felt like it was a little bit of a drought for superheroes on TV. Spider-Man had come and gone. Captain America had come and gone. That was just a couple of TV movies, right? The Incredible Hulk was on, but that might have been about it. And to have a brand new superhero show, well, pretty darn exciting. Pretty darn exciting. Let's see who else has arrived. We got channel member John Collins. John holds the distinction of being the longest channel member, being a channel member for the longest period of time so far. John, thank you for all your continued support. Let's see. And I see a little bit of chat about like William Katz's mom, but I'm not going to say anything more about her because she's one of the questions on the trivia tonight. So we don't want to spoil the trivia for everyone. Burton Leffingwell Jr. says, I gave up Monday Night Raw, aka wrestling, to listen to Dave. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. Now, if at any point, Burton, this live stream may get it at times. I like to think that there are moments that are as exciting as wrestling, but at times it may not be quite as exciting. If you want to, kind of switch on over and then watch the rest later on replay, I wouldn't hold it against you. I just wouldn't. I'm just that kind of guy and a fan of professional wrestling myself. Kind of the old guard professional wrestling, but still a fan. Still a fan. Danny Staten says, I think the greatest American hero had the best TV theme of all time. Sure did. That's a trivia question as well, so I'm going to take that off the screen for a minute. The question is not, is it the greatest TV theme of all time? But I think it is one of the best, for sure. Angela, channel member Angela McCardle says, I'm going to bomb the quiz. Barely watched The Greatest American Hero. I saw parts, but the theme gets stuck in my head every once in a while. It sure does, doesn't it? It's such an earworm. Hey, channel member Sean Innes is here. Channel member Lance Chaffin is here. Lots and lots of channel members, and that makes me a very, very happy YouTube content creator. So here's what we're going to do. I've got a little bit of an introduction to The Greatest American Hero. We're still awaiting the arrival of Kevin. So let's go ahead and watch that video, and then I'll be back, and we'll see if Kevin has knocked on the door.
Growing up, one of the things that I loved about superheroes on TV was that they weren't all dark and brooding. In fact, some of them were actually lovable dorks. That's what always comes to mind when I think about The Greatest American Hero. It wasn't on for a super long time back in the early 80s, but it totally carved out its own little corner in this old noggin of mine. This wasn't your typical DC or Marvel comic book character. This was Ralph Hinckley, or Hanley, remember that little name change? Played by William Catt. He was probably the most down-to-earth hero to ever squeeze into a supersuit. The whole setup was really quite brilliant and perfect for a good laugh. Ralph was just a regular high school teacher, but he gets zapped by aliens who hand him this amazing red suit. It gives him all sorts of powers, flying, super strength, and even invisibility. But here's the deal, and this is what made the show so much fun. He immediately loses the instruction manual. So most of the time, Ralph is just bumbling his way through heroic deeds, usually crashing more often than actually flying smoothly, and totally clueless about how his powers work. It was pure comedy gold. His unwilling partner in all of this chaos is FBI agent Bill Maxwell, brought to life so perfectly by the late, great Robert Culp. Maxwell was this gruff, cynical guy who saw Ralph's alien gift as a way to fight bad guys. He's always pushing Ralph into action, but at the same time, he's yelling at him for being so clumsy. It just really gets frustrated with Ralph. The back and forth between Catt's earnest and often exasperated Ralph and Culp's sarcastic, very demanding Bill Maxwell was absolutely the best part of the show. Beyond all of the silly antics and clumsy heroics, the greatest American hero actually had a ton of heart. Ralph, even with all of his struggles, was just a genuinely good person who wanted to do the right thing. I should probably mention Connie Selica somewhere here in this video. She plays Pam Davidson, a lawyer who is also Ralph's girlfriend on the show. Of course, it isn't long before she figures out that something's up with Ralph. Connie was really wonderful on this show. While Catt and Culp are the main course, Connie's presence was definitely the dessert. I also need to talk about the theme song, Believe It or Not, sung by Joey Scarberry. I remember my sister Valerie going down to the record store and buying that 45 RPM single. Yep, way back then we did that before streaming. If you loved a song and you wanted to listen to it on demand, you had to do more than just click a few buttons on your phone or computer. Anyway, that catchy little tune just perfectly captured what the show was all about. Finding hope in unexpected places and an ordinary guy being thrown into extraordinary situations. The song was a huge hit on its own and really helped make the show a lasting memory. The greatest American hero may not have been the biggest television blockbuster, but its charm really came from its fresh take on what a superhero could be. It showed us that heroes don't have to be perfect. Sometimes the most inspiring people are those that just try their best, even if they occasionally fly headfirst into a billboard. It was a show that rooted for the underdog, the well-meaning goofball, and the simple power of believing in yourself.
The simple power of believing in yourself. That's it in a nutshell. That's the greatest American hero. I see Kevin hanging out just outside in the waiting room, the virtual waiting room here at the Good Stuff Live. So I've put together a tiny, teeny welcome for him. Let me go ahead and bring the ladies on to welcome Kevin, and then we'll get him on screen. Here we go.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Kevin from Retro Renaissance.
There he is. Kevin, good to have
Hi,
you
everyone.
here.
I think that was one of the best introductions I've ever had in my entire life. So thank you, Dave. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm so
Tickled
excited
to
to talk
have
about
you.
this show.
Yeah, tickled to have you here. And I got to tell you, I think I did when I sent you an email a while back and said, hey, would you like to join me? I think I told you that there's some community members, some shared community members that were really excited about having you on.
Yes, I peeked in and I saw Keith. Keith, man, you've been on my channel since the start. So I'm going to give him the most credit for making this happen because he really pioneered it. And he's just been an amazing champion of not only the 80s, but both of our channels, I think.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Such a great community member. And when a guy like Keith says, hey, you gotta, I wasn't aware of your channel. Of course, I immediately became a channel subscriber when he pointed me in your direction, but I wasn't aware of it until he said, this is a guy who, possible brother from another mother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
I love the 80s. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I'm an 80s kid, but 60s, 70s TV, they were always on reruns.
Right.
Got home from school, you didn't just watch 80s show, you watched Brady Bunch, you watched Andy Griffith, you watched all those classic shows. So it resonated with me, not just as a child, but as I'm growing up, as I'm now a grown man, they just mean so much to me. So for sure. And this show, although, first, I want to say you might have to rein me in. I know I get talking a lot, so you can just be like, it's my channel. You need to calm down.
No. You tonight we're sharing with you, so you feel free.
I also kind of feel like I'm in a police interrogation because I have one light over here. If I block it, I get dark. But I wasn't counting on the sun going down, so now it's all dark, and I would really look like I'm nothing if I turn off that light. So I hope it's okay.
Oh, it looks great.
So my point is, yes, this show we're talking about tonight, Greatest American Hero, you might have mentioned it already. It's not a hit. It was not some blockbuster show, but as a kid, I had a little 13-inch black and white TV, got 3 channels, turned on ABC 1980, 83, 82 when it came out, and it just blew me away. Like, as a kid, loving superheroes, seeing someone who doesn't know what they're doing, I think that resonated with me on a deep level. Like, yeah, I can relate to that because we're all going through life not having a clue. So here's this person that's supposed to be saving everyone, and he learned how to fly from a child, to take the 3 steps and jump. Some kid told him in a back alley, that's how you fly.
Yeah. You mentioned the little black and white TV in your room, and right there with you. I don't know if mine was 13 inches. It was even, my parents managed to get a smaller one than that. But, if you got close enough to the thing, it wasn't too bad. And, I loved it. Was it 2 or 3 seasons, Kevin?
I think it was 3. I think 2.5, and then it eventually got canceled. But it was short run. There was a lot of shows, and I'm not going to deviate already. I do have a tendency to go on tangents, but there was so many shows that Automan, Misfits of Science that were so short-lived, but hit me so hard as a child that I'm like, those were amazing. Why did that not succeed?
Yeah. Do you remember I just did a video on Andrea Elson, who later on found fame as Lynn Tanner on Alf.
Alf, yeah.
Do you remember Whiz Kids?
I don't remember Whiz Kids, but now I'm intrigued. Tell me more. Yeah,
another one of those shows. It's about these kids that develop a supercomputer, which ironically looks like a Commodore 64, but it's the 80s. It was 1982, 1983, and they help solve crimes with the aid of this computer that they have put together because they're genius kids. But they're still school-age kids, and it's right there along with, you mentioned Automan, Misfits of Science, these shows that I don't know clearly. Kids that were 12, 13 years old or younger, you were probably a little bit younger than I was at that time, but the advertisers weren't paying the big bucks for our eyeballs. They were paying for older people's
mom and dad,
eyeballs. Yeah. And that's why these shows didn't last.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Superhero movies and TV shows were, we had 78 Superman with Chris Reeve, of course. We had Batman from the 60s, Shazam from the 70s. That all resonated with me as well, but there wasn't a lot for us superhero comic fans. So Greatest Hero comes out, little Kevin sitting there watching his TV. My sister, she's 3 years older than me. She wandered in the bedroom. She started watching it with me, and we were just mesmerized. And I don't know if it was William Catt, maybe the perm he had did something for me, but he was just the coolest actor I could imagine. Perfect fit for that TV show.
Absolutely. He was the cool teacher everybody wished they had, right? Mr. Hinckley, aka Mr. Hanley, just very, very cool teacher.
Yeah, I forgot about that. They did change the name after the Reagan shooting.
Briefly.
That's right. Yeah,
briefly. And then Yeah, I think they called him just like Mr. H or something like that. I'm giving
Yeah.
away all the trivia questions later on, but
Oh,
yeah.
oh, there's going to be a test. You didn't tell me there was going to be a test.
Yeah, there's going to be
Well,
a
that's it
test.
for me, everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you're going to do fine on the quiz.
Well, does chat get to participate too? That's another bad habit I have. I always read chat and want to talk to them.
The chat does. As a matter of fact, the way this works is I got 11 questions, a bonus question. Typically it's 10. And we'll go through them, and I let the people put the answers in the chat if they want. Some people choose to ignore the chat and just kind of lock it in their noggin. And then a couple times during the quiz, we'll ask for people's scores, that kind of thing. It's really low key, just kind of very informal. It's an honor system kind of thing. And the most important part of any trivia that I do is that we all just have fun and learn a little something about the show that we're talking about.
Awesome. I'm down for that. I'm all for fun, and I love 80s, and I love this show, so I'm ready.
So were you a Bob Culp fan before? Did you like watch reruns of I Spy?
I did see him in I Spy. I'm not going to say I was a fan, but I knew of Bob Cope. And yes, you know, he played normally the serious guy, which even in Greatest American Hero, he was the serious role.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I don't know about you, but lately when I see anything on social, I'll see an actor's name and I just expect it to be passed away. Like, it's getting so sad now. Everyone I adore, like, speaking of William Catt, who was also in the movie House with George Wendt, we just lost George Wendt, but Bob Cope was another one that kind of hit me pretty hard. Yeah, because I was just such a fan. So probably I know him best from Greatest American Hero, and he had guest roles in so many things back in the 80s.
Right. I think my dad had been a fan of I Spy. He was a Cosby fan. And so when that came on, we saw it from time to time. And I liked it, but this is the show. This is the show that made me a Bob Culp fan and made me appreciate his style of delivery, the way he acted. He was kind of, you know, I don't want to say he's a one-trick pony, but his characters are all somewhat similar.
Right. You get Bob Cope when he's acting. It's Bob Cope.
You do. And, you know, we've talked about William Catt. We've talked about Robert Culp for a minute. We got to talk about one of the most beautiful women on television.
Connie. Got to talk about Connie.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. Phenomenal.
Speaking of short-term TV series, do you remember Beyond Westworld?
No. Was she in that? Because there was another show I'm thinking of, and I'm drawing a blank.
It was a TV series that was kind of based on Westworld, right? The Westworld movies. But it was a loose adaptation. There were robots in the wild, and much like all TV shows, a lot of the fanciful stuff just kind of gets toned down a lot. But she was one of the stars she was in a show called Flying High on CBS, and then she was in Beyond Westworld on CBS too. Just gorgeous woman. I mean, so much fun to watch on both of those shows, and then to have her kind of round out the trio on Greatest American Heroes, it was perfect.
Totally agree. And again, I don't know where we're headed as far as trivia. I see some people throwing out some trivia answers already, guessing the questions. But I know they tried to do a spinoff with a female Greatest American Hero, and I saw that Lost pilot, and it didn't hit the same, to be honest. And I know they even planned a reboot in 2017, and I'm glad they didn't. I don't know your stance on most reboots. I'm not against them. So, like, you know, new Ghostbusters movie, sure, make them. If it's good, I'll watch it. It doesn't take away from the original. So if they would have made it, I would have for sure given it a chance. But there was just that magical moment when people tried to redo it, like they did. Again, I'm going off on tangents. Quantum Leap. They tried to redo that. Didn't hit the same. Matlock didn't hit the same. Yeah, I just don't think you can recreate that kind of magic.
Yeah, definitely Quantum Leap didn't work for me. Night Court didn't work for me, and I tried to make it work. I watched that reboot over, and I guess it's not really a reboot. It was a continuation over and over, hoping that the magic would show up. Now, I do differ with you a little bit on Matlock. I'm an old man, and I I think what they did was they did it so different. So it's such a dramatic change from the Andy Griffith version of Matlock that it kind of
Oh,
worked for
did
me.
I say Matlock? If I said Matlock, I meant MacGyver. The
Oh,
Matlock with
yes.
Kathy
Okay.
Bates.
Oh, if you
The
meant
Matlock with Kathy Bates,
MacGyver,
I
yeah.
love it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love the Matlock with Kathy Bates and Jason Ritter. I think, like you said,
Yeah.
they changed it so much. It pays a little bit of homage, but it's not the same,
Right.
and that works for me.
Yeah, it's super creative. It's got one of the greatest actors of all time. Kathy Bates is just phenomenal. And to have Jason Ritter in there as well.
Yes.
And I don't like how that's going with his
No,
character.
I was going to say I don't want to
but-
spoil it, but it seems like he may
Yeah.
not be doing so well.
Yeah, but it's perfect for a guy that plays someone. I mean, he's such a likable actor that I guess it kind of works in the context of the story.
Yeah, and I think that was why it kind of blew me away, because he is so likable, and you're like, wait a minute, what are they doing? And it kind of shocked me a little bit.
All right, I've got to. I'm noticing John Collins is getting after me for not paying attention to super chats, and that happens when I get someone. When I'm as excited as I am to have someone like Kevin on.
I know. Like I said, I ramble, so go ahead, do your super chats. I get it.
Yep, let's make sure that we cover these super chats. John Collins says, Dave, didn't have to change the name of the main character because of geopolitical reasons. I don't know what we're talking about there. Do you know what he might be
I'm guessing
referring
it's
to?
about the Hinckley to Hanley change. They changed the name of the character.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to either. I don't think anyone cared or noticed, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was just a silly network executive decision, and those happen. Those happen from time to time. John also says, Kevin, your channel and narration is wonderful. Let's get back to Greatest American Hero in a minute, but it is a really wonderful channel. And folks, if you haven't taken a look at Retro Renaissance, if it hasn't shown up on your home screen at one point or another, you need to look it up. Let me just quickly, I think I grabbed a screenshot. There it is. You can see the stuff that Kevin's covering. Yeah, these are some of his most popular videos, one-hit wonders from the 80s, the Brat Pack. Who doesn't love talking about the Brat Pack? Weird 80s song. Alf's final episode. Oh, yeah. I mean, what they did Alf wrong. And that TV movie didn't make things better. I'll tell you that right now.
No. Well, John, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, my channel is just a love letter. I don't expect anything from it. If you like the stuff I do, great. If you don't, just give it a try, because it means so much to me on a personal level, just out of love. It's just a love project. And I think that a lot of the times I honestly try to avoid most other nostalgia channels because I don't want to be influenced by what they do. To be fair, I did scour through your channel deep once you reached out to me on the email so far long ago, and I love every minute of it. Yeah, you can just look up Retren, R-E-T-R-E-N, because I don't expect anyone to know how to spell Renaissance. It's kind of a tricky word.
Hey, Kevin, I got to ask you. So I've been to your channel in the past. Like I said, I subscribed, but I wasn't watching a ton, and so it kind of dropped off my home feed, which is what happens when you don't watch videos from a channel. But so when I went back and visited again, I found that amazing theme song. Did you write that yourself?
Oh, I wish I could take credit for that. No, that was on Fiverr. I found a wonderful guy that makes music on Fiverr, and I just said, here, you know what? Here's what I want it to do, and they built the magic from there.
Oh, it's so good, folks. Check out the music video for Kevin's channel too. It's a lot of fun.
That being said, I've always thought it'd be so cool to get like a real 80s band say, here's my song, will you recreate it for me? But you don't want to hear me sing, I promise.
Well, it's awesome, and as is your channel. What you say, it's a love letter, but what was the genesis? What was the origin? How did you get into this? Was it just out of boredom, or was there something that kind of got you here?
Yeah, I wish it was just boredom. No, I've been a fan of YouTube pretty much since it came out, and I always thought I would love to make a YouTube channel. But, you know, fear, stage fright, whatever it is, there's always reasons not to do something. And honestly, if you look at my earlier videos, they're not great. They're just like me stumbling through my words. But one thing I've always clung on to was those times when I was a kid. You know, I was born in 72, so I was, you know, like 8 and then on is when the 80s happened. And they held such a special place for me. And honestly, not to get too serious, but the way the world is now, it's kind of hard. I kind of wish, even though I'm on YouTube, I wish we didn't have the internet. I wish we had corded
Yeah.
phones. I wish we had an old, you know, UHF TV. I wish people had landlines where the cord ran through the whole house and the phone rings. Everyone's like, the phone's for you, instead of looking at it and being like, I don't want to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
So I missed it so much. And I'm like, let's build a time capsule, a time machine to where people can just talk about it, hang out. And I want to build, and I'm sure it's probably similar for you, aside just talking, like I don't want to do necessarily video essays. I just want to have people invited in to this world because it
Yeah.
means so much to me and I want to share it with everyone else. And I know there's other people out there that it meant something to them too. So I just want to have like, just like you're having friends over in a living room, sitting around talking and chatting about stuff you love.
I love that. And yes, I think we have similar objectives in what we're trying to accomplish. Someone in the chat earlier said, "Hey, how can you be talking about Greatest American Hero tonight when everything that's going on in the country?" And I got to say, you know, with the tremendous amount of love to that individual, you're missing the point of what we're trying to do here. These channels, these respites from what's going on in the world today, they're absolutely necessary from a mental wellness standpoint. Every once in a while, you need to step away. And what I do is I usually fire up an episode of the Andy Griffith Show, but alternatively, on the computer, channels like Kevin's and hopefully channels like mine can provide that same respite as we remember a time gone by. I'm with you, Kevin. As much as I love being on YouTube, I would give it all up tomorrow. All up tomorrow.
Yep.
All this technology tomorrow, if we could go back to a slightly simpler time.
Yep. And in my real life, if that's what you want to call it, my job is on social media. So it's like, it sounds counterproductive to be like, stay off of all these things when that's what A, gives me my living, B, is my passion. But yeah, I would give it up. And I would say to that chatter, again, all respect, but that is exactly why we're talking about the Greatest American Hero, is because of everything that's going on in the country.
Right. Yep, exactly. Well, let's get back to Greatest American Hero. I have a favorite episode, and it's an easy one for me. It's the pilot episode. I would have paid money to go see that in the theaters. I love it so much, and I've watched it over and over. Do you have a particular favorite episode that you remember that you loved?
I'm not trying to copy your answer, but I would agree that pilot episode, just because it skewed everything you thought about a superhero show. You know, he lost the instruction manual right after he got the suit. Where did the suit come from? Who are these aliens? Why was it him? He can't fly. He crashes into everything. And right off the bat, you're like, okay, this is something different. It's something special. So this pilot episode set the stage for the rest of the story. So again, not to copy your answer, even though I'm cheating off your test right now, that would also be my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I also love the kids that were in the show too. And it's kind of fun because if you're a fan of 80s movies, in particular, Michael, is it Pare? I don't know how you say his name, but he was in Streets of Fire later on. Just an actor who went on to bigger and better things, and it was fun to see him on this show as one of the kids.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that it wasn't all action, all superhero, you saw him be a teacher. You saw him trying to be, you know, a boyfriend, I think it was at the time, to Connie Selica, and just like living a normal life. But yet he has this other side. And yeah, other superheroes, you know, Superman is Clark Kent, but they didn't really dive too much into Clark Kent. It was like Chris Reeve had his moments as Clark Kent, but it was mostly a Superman movie. But they split it fairly evenly with, you know, Mr. H versus the Greatest American Hero.
Absolutely. Channel member Sean Innes says that Michael was in Eddie and the Cruisers, Houston Knights. Eddie and the Cruisers was the one I was trying to think of because I love the music by the Beaver Brown Band, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Hey, we also really quick, Kevin, let me just thank.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think I did thank John, but if I didn't, let me thank John for those 2 super chats. That was very generous of you, John, and I appreciate all you do for the channel. I also need to thank Sarah, aka My Flock is Everywhere, who gifted a membership to someone else out in the community tonight. And that's so much fun to see generosity like that on the channel for my community, helping to build the community. And hopefully I'll do my very best to make sure we do some channel member exclusive videos and live stream this month so this new member can see everything that goes on in the channel. But thanks to both of you. Very kind. Sorry to cut you off, Kevin. You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say Eddie and the Cruisers was on all the time. Like we had HBO Channel 5. It was on all the time, so I couldn't avoid it. And yeah, the music was wonderful. I do see a couple retro Renaissance people in chat. So Shasta, Ethan, Beth, all of you, thank you for coming over to Dave's channel and checking me out here as well. And keep watching more of his content because it's pretty dang amazing.
That's awesome that they came over to hang out with us tonight. Really appreciate it. So we've got a little bit about your origin story. We've talked a little bit about Greatest American Hero. I think we'll talk more as we do the trivia. Anything else you'd want to, before we launch into trivia, Kevin, anything else you'd want to mention about Greatest American Hero?
Not necessarily the show, but again, I'll say William Katt was so underrated in the movie House, in Carrie. I know that's part of the trivia. His mom had some roles in a certain show, and he was also in there as well. Phenomenal guy, phenomenal actor. I did read a little bit of the chat that he didn't show up to some of the cons he was supposed to show up to. That's on him. That's not on his acting. I think he's so cool. So I just want to say a special shout out to William Katt and rocking that perm. I thought about it as in the 80s, but I never quite pulled it off. And now my hair's kind of going away. So
I had a perm like that in the 80s, and
really
now it's all gone. So maybe you were better off not having it.
Well, there you go, chatters. Make a Dave show his perm off to you in one of his posts, his community post.
One of these days I will. One of these days I will for sure. Okay, cool. I've got a couple of vintage commercials, and then we'll just launch right into the trivia. So, Kevin, the commercials will last approximately 60 seconds. So if you need to do something, you'll be off screen for the next 60 seconds.
All right,
or so.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me find the commercials. Let's do the Greatest American Hero promo, and then we'll do a commercial starring Adrian Zmed. You remember that guy, Adrian Zmed?
Oh, yeah, he was in Grease, too. Yeah, for sure.
And
we should talk about that theme song at some point, too.
Oh, yes. Well, we will. Well, let's do that when we get to the trivia.
All right.
Okay.
Take heart, America. At last, help is on the way. He may be unable to leap tall buildings in a single bound. He may be slower than a speeding bullet, and he may be less powerful than a locomotive. But he's working on it.
Butterfingers.
Give the poor guy a chance. He's just getting started.
Good God, Ralph. Superpowers.
But when he gets it going, there's no stopping him. Make way for the greatest American hero. He's coming to save us this Wednesday.
Good Stuff Live with Dave Sundstrom.
Aren't we eating out?
I thought we were eating in.
We are now. All I have is cold fried chicken.
Too bad we can't refry it.
Well, I do use Crisco oil.
It'll soak up more oil. Won't it taste greasy?
We'll see. Good so far.
It's fantastic. Now, aren't you glad we ate in?
No.
Now in a clear bottle, Crisco oil for fried foods that taste delicious, not greasy.
You know, whenever I think about classic TV, I immediately think about the Frndly TV streaming service that has over 50 channels, many of them showcasing classic television shows from decades gone by for a crazy low price. You can try the service free for 7 days by clicking on the link in the description section. And when you do, you're supporting this channel. Thanks. All right, we're back. Okay. Let me fire this up. Let's see. See if we can get this on screen. Let's try this. There we go. All right. How much do you know about the greatest American hero? Based on conversation already, Kevin, I can tell you you're going to do very, very well on the quiz.
Don't set me up so much, because now I'll probably fail all of them.
We'll see. We shall see. Let me get my timer ready, because we got to keep this trivia lean and mean. All right. Question number 1 out of 10. Like I said, there is a bonus at the end. What was the name of the show's theme song that became a top 40 hit in the U.S.? I'm going to start the timer. Your choices are Believe It or Not, Flying on High, It's Just Me, or Wing and a Prayer. Again, I'm asking for the title. What was the name of the show's theme song that became a top 40 hit in the U.S.? And folks, feel free. You know the rules. You can put your answer, your guess in the chat. You got about 8-7 seconds to do so. If you want, you can just lock it in your noggin. That's typically the way I do it myself. But the correct answer is Kevin. You want to go ahead and give us the correct answer?
Believe It or Not, He's Walking on Air.
Absolutely, by Joey Scarborough.
Yeah.
I played a little video at the beginning where I talked about, that was a single, a 45 RPM that my sister went to the record store to buy. She loved it so much. What are your memories of the song?
Well, the song during the time didn't really stick with me, but since then, that's all I remembered about the show for years. I will have one memory here. I work with someone, and he's like, "Oh, I love this song." I was like, "Oh, that's from The Greatest American Hero." He's like, "What's that?" I was like, "It's from a TV show." He's like, "There was a TV show about the song?" I'm like, and I had to, it was a 30-minute conversation, like, sit down, we need to talk. I'm going to tell you everything about this show. And it just blew my mind that the song almost became bigger than the TV show, which is very rare.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is just that good, right? The song is that good that I can see it outliving a wonderful show, but it really is. And I imagine if that individual went back and watched the show, they'd really enjoy it because, the song does such a great job of encapsulating the spirit and feeling of the show.
Yep.
All right. Question number 2. Try that again. Oh, man. There we go. What high school class did Ralph teach? Anybody that saw the answer, well, just pretend like you didn't. 30 seconds on the timer. The question is, again, what high school class did Ralph teach? Was he an algebra teacher, a history teacher, a Spanish teacher, or a special ed teacher? One of the things you'll discover about my trivia is I'm really, for the most part, not trying to provide the world's toughest questions, because I want everybody to have fun. I want them to have a good time while we play. Do you know the answer, Kevin?
Well, it looks like a D was kind of given away, so I'm going to say special ed.
D is indeed the correct answer. That was a special group of kids that he was teaching. I don't know if it was more remedial or whatever you want to call it. It was a class that they went to get a little bit of an extra boost. All right. Let me see if I can do it this time without giving away the answer. Question number 3. What government agency did Bill Maxwell, played by the great Robert Culp, work for? Was it the ATF, the CIA, the FBI, or NASA? Again, I'll read the question. What government agency did Bill Maxwell work for? He was always throwing that badge out there for people to see. Kevin, we'll give folks about 12 more seconds here to answer the question. Then I'll turn it over to you if you want to proffer up a guess. All right, that's good. What do you think?
I'm going to say, and I remember it distinctly, so I hope I'm right, it's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, Bill Maxwell.
That is correct. All right. Folks, we're going to go on all the way through question 5, and then we'll stop and get an update on scores. Question number 4. What device did the aliens initially use to contact Ralph? Was it a cell phone? Let me go ahead and start the timer. Cell phone, a computer, a pager, or a radio? Again, the question is there was a device, a means in which the aliens used to communicate with Ralph initially. And your choices are cell phone, a computer, a pager, or just a good old radio. Go ahead and take the timer off the screen. Kevin, do you remember the answer to this one?
I'm not going to lie, I don't remember. I'm going to say it's pretty sure not a cell phone.
Yeah.
But if I had to guess, I'll say radio.
That is correct. It was in the car. It was bouncing. I don't remember that tuner bouncing back and forth.
You're right.
Yep. Okay. Well, so far your guessing has been phenomenal. I'm guessing most of your guesses aren't guesses, but that one was a good one. Let's keep going. One more, and then we'll get some scores from the folks out there. Question number 5. What is the name of the actor who played Ralph? So if you've been paying attention at all tonight, folks, at all, this one is an easy peasy free parking level type giveaway here. Was it Adam West? Great actor, by the way. Love the man. George Reeves, Robin Williams. These are all wonderful people. Or William Catt. Again, the question is, what is the name of the wonderful actor who played Ralph Hinckley on the TV show? Was it Adam West, George Reeves, Robin Williams, or William Catt? Kevin, the correct answer is?
It is William Catt, but I want to say thank you for adding Batman and Superman both into that list. I love seeing George Reeves and Adam West. I used to watch the old George Reeves Superman. Oh, like there was a strange episode, and you may not remember it. Even as a kid, it kind of messed with my head. Lois Lane was comatose, and he levitated her, and these walls were closing in. And the way he fixed it was levitating Lois between the walls to stop the walls, and they stopped on her head and feet. And I was like, even as a kid, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But you know what? I still love George. It's still great.
Yeah. I don't remember that episode. I'm a huge fan of season 1 of The Adventures of Superman because it was darker. It was more noir. It had Phyllis Coates as Lois Lane. She was definitely more harder edged than Noel Neal. And but I did love all of it. And for the longest time, especially I was a 70s kid, Batman and Superman reruns, those were the superheroes we had on TV until the advent of like Wonder Woman and then the Incredible Hulk and a little bit of Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Man, I mean, come on, that was a little iffy there, but loved Wonder Woman, loved the Hulk, loved all that. I am a huge Superman fan. I can't pivot my camera around, but there's Superman stuff all around me, so I was all in for George Reeves as Superman, Christopher Reeve as Superman, the comics, even Henry Cavill, even Brandon Routh, even all the new indications. Superman all the way.
What do you think about the new movie? Are you excited?
So I've already bought my tickets. July 11th. I'm going to be there. I'm excited. I love James Gunn's work. So I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Peacemaker. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it because, Zack Snyder, not so much, but I'm excited for it.
Zack Snyder, I have appreciated some of the work he's done in the past, but he was too grim dark for that character. He might have been okay just Batman on its own, but Superman needs more light, more hope than what Zack is able to deliver. And hopefully James Gunn, I think he's going to knock it out of the park. I
think so too. Truth, justice, the American way, the whole Superman motto. I think Zack Snyder just kind of didn't get that. And, he does great movies, but that just wasn't a right fit for him.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. Thrash Pondo Ponds, channel member Thrash Pondo Ponds. Bob, by the way, will be on the live stream next Monday. So excited to have Bob and Pat and Barry back on the live stream. 5 for 5. Dolph Quick, 5 for 5. Channel member Keith E, 4 out of 5 so far. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers, 4 out of 5. Ken Wilkinson, 2 out of 5. Channel member Superplex, 4 out of 5. Channel member Sean Innes, 5 for 5, but he doesn't feel good about it. Well,
I'm curious which one he missed.
You feel good about it. Let's see what else we got. David Kerbo, channel member David Kerbo, 5 out of 5. He is walking on air tonight. Indeed, you are, my friend. Commander Kane, a.k.a. Paul R., 5 out of 5. Channel member John Collins, 5 out of 5. Says, were any of the people that appeared in the special ed class actually people who experienced disabilities in their lives? No, it was more of a remedial type thing where they were struggling with some learning. They didn't have any physical disabilities. There were no out and out spoken other disabilities that potentially could have been, but they didn't really focus on that. It was just a class of kind of kids that were just having a tougher time in school. Deborah Battle, 4 out of 5. Channel member Lance Chaffin, 5 out of 5. Jan Koza, knocking it out of the park tonight so far, 4 for 5. Rachel at 208, perfect, 5 of 5. Beth per year, 4 out of 5. Channel member Angela McArdle, 5 out of 5. I guess you're not bombing it, are you, Angela?
No, everyone is rocking it. Good job, everybody.
Richard Smith, 5 out of 5. Sakina McMurrin, 5 out of 5. Let's see. Tom McCluskey, this trivia made him so, he's beat down.
I love that.
Make a sandwich. I'm going to have a sandwich after. I'm going to wait. Raja, 1938, 5 of 5, and we're caught up. So let's go ahead and take that score off the screen. Let me bring the trivia back. And we'll move on to the last half of the quiz. Question 6. What was the name of Ralph's girlfriend played by Connie Selica? Your choices are Anne, Pam, Rhonda, or Stacy. Again, what was the name of Ralph's girlfriend played by Connie Selica? Choices are just classic names. Anne, Pam, Rhonda, or Stacy. So folks are already throwing their answers out in the chat. We'll give folks about 5 more seconds. I'm going to take this off the screen, though. Kevin, do you remember the name of the character that Connie played?
Gotta love Pam. Thank you, Pam, for all your hard work.
Yes. Lawyer Pam Davidson. Yeah. All right. Question 7. What did Ralph's students usually call him? Was it Mr. H, Mr. R, Mr. T? Pity the fool that calls him that. Or the professor or the prof. Sometimes maybe they might have, if this is the correct answer, called him the prof. So Mr. H, Mr. R, Mr. T, or the prof. And while we're waiting for folks to, I think it's a pretty easy answer, but we'll still give them the full 30 seconds. Did you ever have, Kevin, Mr. T cereal?
Here's the thing. So there was a lot of cereals. I've had Mr. T, sure. And I've had, Pac-Man. They always were kind of like Captain Crunch, just in different shapes a little bit, but they were all Captain Crunch. Am I right? Just shaped differently.
They were all Captain Crunch.
Yes.
They're just
yes, I did.
Shapes. Yeah. I did enjoy Mr. T cereal, though, just because I really enjoyed the boxes, right? The boxes, the prizes, reading the back. That was
you don't get anymore
for me. Yeah, it's like TV commercials, and I'm going to rant here a little bit, but TV commercials are so bad these days. You just don't get an Adrian Zemed Crisco fried oil commercial. You get drug after drug after drug on TV.
Side effects include, and you get a whole list of side effects. Give me an old cereal commercial like we were just talking about this on one of our live streams, like, the Campbell's snowman where he melts and he's eating Campbell's soup. Even the Christmas ones with the Hershey Kiss bells. But the OJ cereal, which tasted like orange juice, basically. Like, they need to bring all that back.
Yes, absolutely. We need more. Has technology stifled creativity and maybe even more importantly, stifled fun on television?
Right.
We need more of that.
Even Super Bowl commercials, which growing up, those were the thing. they're just a bunch of celebrities,
Yeah.
promoting some product. It's not, there's no creativity magic, like you said.
No. All started with lame cereal boxes. The correct answer was Mr. H. Mr. H is what they would call him. Question number 8. What did Ralph's last name briefly change to on the show? Was it Hanley, Hanson, Hinson, or Hunkley? Again, what did Ralph's last name ever so briefly change to on the show? I think they actually went back in and redubbed it on a couple of the, like you said, I think it was 2.5 seasons. And I think it was during the first full season, the second season, where they went back in and dubbed a few of the episodes. What's the correct answer, Kevin?
It's Hanley. We know that. We discussed that a little bit. Yeah, I'll have to watch it back to see if they dubbed. I don't know if they did. You're probably right. I haven't watched it in many, many years. So a lot of what I'm pulling from is childhood, Kevin, remembering all these wonderful things.
Yeah, I think it was just a couple of episodes where they dubbed it over, and then they started calling him Mr. H, and just kind of, maybe it went back to Hinckley by the end. I truly can't remember. I have the DVD set. I should go back and watch.
But to be honest, again, that's something they wouldn't even think about today. So
yeah,
different times.
Different times indeed. What was the catalyst for Ralph's brief name change? Your choices are the Bush assassination attempt, a DC Comics lawsuit, John Hinckley lawsuit, or the Reagan assassination attempt. The question is, again, what was the catalyst? What really caused the network executives to say, hey, we need to change Ralph's last name? Was it the Bush assassination attempt, DC Comics lawsuit, John Hinckley lawsuit, or the Reagan assassination attempt? What is it, Kevin?
It is the Reagan assassination attempt, but I kind of want to see the alternate universe where it's the DC comic lawsuit to see what they would have sued him for.
Here's the thing. That's actually, I was trying to trip up some folks because DC Comics did sue the show.
I got to know more because you tripped me up. Tell me about that.
It was eventually dismissed, but it was because they said that Ralph had too many similarities to Superman.
Oh, well, no, he doesn't. So ridiculous. I disagree with that. So far
ridiculous, huh? Yeah, ridiculous. DC Comics, I'm a huge fan. You are my preferred comic book
Same here,
company.
Which is rare. I mean, Dave, Marvel is where it's at. So us DC folks, it's rare.
I know. You are my preferred comic book company, but shame on you, DC, for even thinking of doing that. It's kind of like George Lucas suing Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, like come on.
Stop it. All right, last question. What body part? Well, it's not the last question because I got a bonus question, but what body part of Bill's did Ralph? This is a tougher question. Did Ralph accidentally injure over and over on the show? Was it the back? Or Bill's back, Bill's hand, Bill's nose, or Bill's foot? I'm going to start the timer. We'll read the question again so folks can really noodle this one about. What body part of Bill's did Ralph accidentally injure over and over on the show? Was it back, hand, nose, or foot? I see a lot of people guessing foot. Logic would lead you to believe it might be foot. Do you know the answer, Kevin?
I don't. You stumped me on this one. I'll throw out a guess. Just to go against the grain, I'll say hand. There we go. I'll take it. Take it as my wild guess.
I like to make my trivia relatively easy, but I usually put in one that is you'll have had to watch a few episodes to be able to answer.
Yeah, I honestly didn't remember. That was a tough
Bill's
one
hand.
Sure.
Do you remember him just think about it. You remember him occasionally shaking his hand?
Hand. Yep. I do. Yeah.
Yep. He would get his hand injured, and Ralph usually had something to do with it because of it. All right. Final question. This is for folks. This is my apology question because this question was tough. I knew a lot of people would miss it. If you get the bonus question, and you had all the others right, you can still say 10 out of 10. That's what the bonus question is all about, people. So what is the name of the classic TV show that starred William Katt's mother? I'm going to start the timer, and we're going to hold you to the 30 seconds here. Was William Katt's mother, her name was Barbara Hell. Was she on Barnaby Jones with Buddy Ebsen and Lee Merriweather? Or was she on another Buddy Ebsen classic, Beverly Hillbillies? Or was she on Perry Mason? Or did she grace us with an appearance? Was she part of the cast of Petticoat Junction? I bet you know the answer to this one, Kevin.
That is Perry Mason. And full disclosure, I did a video about William Katt, so I dived deep into his history. So that's how I knew that. I may not have known that originally, but yes, Perry Mason. Wonderful Barbara Hale.
Yep, Della Street was the name of the character that Barbara played on the show. I really hated, speaking of remakes, I don't know if you ever watched the HBO Perry Mason remake, but oh, man.
Oh, I did. I did not care for it, to be honest. I hope you're not going to say you love it, because I did not care for it at all.
I did not love it. No.
I mean, I understand wanting to do a departure, but it was so far of a departure. It was unwatchable, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, let's get some final scores. Kevin, you ended up being 10 to 10, right?
Okay, well, then I don't have to turn in my 80s card on this episode.
No, you do not. Good job. Let's see what other people did. Let's see. Channel member Lads Chaffin got 10 of 10. Good job. Ken Wilkinson got 6 out of 10. Let's see. Custom Gods arriving late, but played with us when they got there. 5 of 5. Commander Kane, 10 of 10. And found the instructions with the bonus. Found the instruction book. Nice. Superplex, 8 out of 11. Dolph Quick, 10 of 10. Thanks for the bonus question. Anytime, folks. Anytime. Let me go ahead and we'll keep reading scores here, but let's bring Kevin back to full screen. Keith E says 8 out of 10 and hoping for 100K subscribers for Kevin.
Thank you, Keith. I hope so too. And honestly, you have some smart chatters out there. You can keep going, but man, they're doing so good at this.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Tom McCluskey maybe got 5. That's probably because you had to stop and get your sandwich, Tom. Channel member Angela McArdle, 10 of 10, got number 10 right, but managed to recover with the bonus question. Rachel in 208, 9 of 10. Thresh Pondo Ponds, channel member Thresh Pondo Pond, 9 out of 10. Channel member Dave Kerbo, 10 out of 10. Let's see. Roger 1938, 10 out of 10. Shasta, here's what you do when you don't want to share your score. You just say, I had really fun. I got fun out of fun tonight. That's what I encourage people to say, because it really isn't about the score. It's about, did you have a good time?
Again, full disclosure, Shasta is my wife, and she's in here to support me, and maybe she didn't quite do as good as she could have, but she's a 90s girl. I'm the 80s guy, so this was out of her wheelhouse for sure.
Well, that is so awesome that your wife is here to support you and hang out with the community. Thank you so much, Kevin's wife, for hanging out with us tonight. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyer, 7 out of 10. Deborah Battle got 8 out of 11. Skeena McMurrin, 10 of 10. Richard Smith, 8 of 10. Channel member John Collins, 9 of 11. Do you ever watch My Secret Identity with Jerry O'Connell? Have you ever watched that show?
Loved it. Love that show. It was, again, one of those with superpowers that was so short-lived, but so good. That little magical moment. Yes. It was much later than Greatest American Hero, but yeah, watched it, loved it for sure.
It was syndicated, right? It wasn't a network show. It was one of those that was syndicated.
Yeah, that was the time when My Secret Identity, what's the robot? Vicky, the robot, Small Wonder, all those syndicated shows were out at that time.
Yeah. Yes. And I loved, by the way, now I'm drawing a blank, and I've done a video on the Vicky the Robot show. What was that called? Oh my gosh!
Vicky the Robot was Small Wonder, but there was another one.
Small Wonder.
Yeah,
it was Small Wonder.
What was the one with Evie, where she was like contacted her dad as an alien?
Yeah, that was the one where Burt Reynolds was the voice of her dad. I've done a video on that too.
Maybe Chad will know, because I'm out of this. Maybe it's something like that.
Something like that. That's a fun show too. Okay, Superplex, channel member Superplex says, I think the free membership gift by My Flock should be acknowledged. I think I did acknowledge it. Now, what StreamYard doesn't allow me to do is I can't see who that membership was gifted to. So Zuper, if you want to put it in the chat, I will be happy to mention that as well. But thank you for pointing that out. Channel member Lance Chaff and Kevin, they want to know if you do live streams from time to time.
We do. Our format's a little different. So if you're expecting us kind of like what we're doing with Dave here, it's a little different. Shasta and I will sit on the couch, we'll flip a topic, and we'll just talk about it. So it's in our living room. It's on a couch. It's a little different format. Sometimes there's not even a topic, and we veer off way more than we did tonight. But yes, we do. So if you want to join them, go ahead. They're every Thursday, sometimes Friday, if we're doing something on Thursday.
Well, I will definitely be at the next one if I can, because I just want to see. I want to see what a husband-wife live stream is like. My wife is off doing her own thing and does not want to be any part of this. So I will be tickled to see how that works.
It's basically me nerding out for the 80s. And Shasta going, no, the 90s were better. The 90s. And I'm like, no, the 80s, the 80s.
I did a poll just today, this morning. I posted what decade was the best for televised entertainment. And here's how biased I am. I didn't even put the 90s down, Shasta. I did 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I probably should have done 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s because 50s, they're not getting any votes, even though I love Leave It to Beaver and a couple of shows from that era.
Yeah. I still watch Leave It to Beaver. I was just watching that the other day, and, Shasta, she didn't have a lot of pop culture growing up, so it was more me introducing it. She sat there and watched. She's like, this is a really good show. I'm like, yeah, this is my childhood, coming home and watching reruns of Leave It to Beaver.
Right. And that was an 80s show because you got reruns of Leave It to Beaver, and then you had the new Leave It to Beaver or Still the Beaver or whatever it was called on Disney Channel.
And I would stay up till midnight, turn on my TV, and there was a TV show that came on right before they went off the air, because they used to, hello kids, they used to go off the air back in the 80s, and you get sad, called I Married Joan with Jim Backus from Gilligan's Island. Loved that show. Loved that show so much. It's so hard to find these days, but it was phenomenal. If you're into those black and white kind of husband-wife shows, so funny.
Yes, I totally agree with you, and that's another good one. That back in the old Nick at Night days, they played so many great shows, including that one. Burton Leffingwell Jr., 11 of 11. Nice job, Burton. Well done. Well done. Let me see if I have any other scores here. I want to make sure that we cover everybody. They are agreeing with me that it was Out of This World. Yep. Small Wonder, Out of This World. Let me see if we got a name of the person that the channel membership was gifted to. I'm not seeing that anywhere. That's okay. Sarah, you're awesome for doing that. And hopefully the person that it was gifted to will really be able to enjoy it. All right. Final thoughts, Kevin. Thanks so much, by the way, for joining us tonight. But final thoughts about Greatest American Hero or whatever, just classic TV in general.
Yeah. My final thoughts is watch it if you haven't, for sure. I'm going to rewatch it now that we've been talking about it. And check out William Catt. He's just so phenomenal, not only as an actor, but like his interviews, he's so giving. And I just admire him as a person. Anything else I want to say? Dave, this has been so fun. So fun talking about old TV shows, 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, anything. If you ever want to do it again, I am game, because this has been a good time. So thank you for having me on your channel.
I'm glad you had a good time, and you will definitely get an invite again, because I think my community really enjoyed having you. I know I did. It's always fun to visit with someone who, just has similar enthusiasm for this stuff. So, but I will say this. Shasta's not all wrong about the 90s. There was some good programming in the 90s too.
Yeah, there was. I check out around the grunge era. So mid 90s, that's kind of when I kind of like pulled away from the 90s, but there's some good stuff out there. Yeah.
Do you remember Get a Life with Chris Elliott?
No. If you're telling me to get a life, First of all, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. I don't remember it at all.
A Fox TV show that I think debuted in 1990 that was kind of a send up of like what would happen if Dennis the Menace had grown up. And it had like it had a lot of actors that had been in old timey kind of like sitcoms and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance, there are a few episodes on YouTube. I would recommend Zoo Animals on Parade as potentially a nice starter for Get a Life. And then a season 2 episode called Spewy and Me, which was an ET stand-up that was crazy fun.
Well, then I will watch it if it's crazy fun. One question for you, and this is because it just popped in my head. There was a TV show in the 80s where a actress, I want to say, passed away, came back as an angel or maybe a ghost, and tried to help this guy with his dating life. Jennifer slept here. Yep. I knew you. Jennifer lives here. There you go. There you go. I knew you would get it. That was my last question for you.
Yeah. Anne, what was her name? Anne. Oh my goodness. She was in It's a Living.
She was huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drawing a blank.
Yeah, that's what happens on live streams. Like stuff you normally know. When called upon, Ann Jillian.
Thank
you, Sean.
Yes, thank you, Sean.
When called upon on a live stream, it just sometimes
it all goes away.
Yep, it does.
Oh, and plus you're doing technical stuff, so you're like monitoring chat, so your brain's probably like all different places.
Exactly. Now there's another Tom McCluskey. He's his handle here was for many moons the Hungry Jerk. He's the guy that went and got the sandwich. He also mentions an episode of Get a Life, and I hope this is on YouTube because this one is so funny too. It's called The Most Beautiful Year in My Life or something. He becomes a male model, and to know what Chris Elliott looks like, he's there's no
Chris Elliott. I know who that is, so I will definitely look at it.
Very funny episode. All right,
you have a chatter called Rachel and the 208. I just have to ask because that's my area code. Are you in Idaho? Because that's where I am at, and that's our area code. You don't have to say where you are if you don't want to, but I just keep seeing 208. And I'm like, that's my area code.
I didn't know that was a 208 area code. We got to watch that, and I got to tell you, then we're neighbors, Kevin, because I'm in Utah.
Really?
I'm in Utah.
Okay. We're at Utah. I don't want to dox you, so don't give like your address or anything.
Oh, I tell people I live in Kaysville, Utah. So do you know where Lagoon is?
Yes.
I'm right by Lagoon.
Fantastic.
Yes. And yes, Rachel is in Boise.
Boise, okay. I'm over here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. If you ever want to see a pretty lake and hike some fancy trails, that's where we're at.
Home of Adam.
Yeah.
Home of Adam. I've been there. I haven't met Adam, but I never met him when he was alive. I have been to Adam West Day in Walla Walla, Washington. But home of Adam. I remember.
Another fantastic person we've lost. So, telling you, he not only as Batman, he was in a lot of interviews. There's if you know Kevin Smith at all, he's a director.
Yeah,
he was in Hollywood Babylon with Ralph. I can't
Garman.
remember Ralph's name. Garman, yeah. He was a guest on there. Oh, so fantastic. Such a good human being.
Yep.
Another great one we lost. I know I'm rambling. You can shut me up anytime.
I told you that we were going to. I told you that this is what would happen. We'll just start on a topic and then you just go. You just go. You have a good time.
Exactly.
All right. Well, with that said, we should probably shut it down tonight. I like to try to keep them to somewhere around an hour. So,
for sure,
Kevin, thank you. Let me put your channel up on the screen one more time. This is the channel, right? He's well on his way to 100,000 subscribers. Retro Renaissance. Anything you want to say about it, Kevin?
I just want to say, if there's anything you want to see, anything we don't have on there, I'm open. Just tell me in a post. I want to build a community. I don't want to build a YouTube channel. There's plenty of those. And that's why I kind of focused on Dave here. He's building a community, and it just is what I'm trying to build. People who just love what I love. Thank you for everything. Thank you, chatters. It's been so nice to meet all of you, whether it's new friends or old friends. Thank you. Take a look, and I'll hopefully be back and talk to Dave soon.
All right. Thanks again, Kevin. I think with that, folks, I hope everybody has an awesome week. Thanks for your participation, your engagement tonight, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye, everyone. Bye, chat. Have a good night.
Let's get Fred Rogers in here to sing us on out of here.
You are special.
Click on that thumbnail cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.